Ball at the Bronco 36-yard line. Cougars with a four-man front this time. Handoff Jeanty. Jeanty up the middle. Jeanty makes a couple of tacklers miss. Squirts out of the pile to the 45, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, 10. Touchdown, Ashton Jeanty. Another huge run. 64 yards for Ashton Jeanty on the score. Quick snap for Mateer. Looking for the end zone, throwing it down the middle. It's intercepted. Benefield with the interception in the end zone. Terrible pass by Mateer, and the Cougars will turn it over. Third down. Back to pass. Mateer. Hassanin has him, and he gets tripped up by Virgin Morgan. Almost a safety.
The Boise State football team blows out Wazzu on the blue. Welcome into Jay's Sports Bar. Jay Tust alongside former Boise State wide receiver Shane Williams-Rhodes. Shane, we had a lot of anticipation going into that game. We thought that it was going to be a good game, and it was.
Quick throw right side to get it out to Jeanty on the screen. 25, hurdles a man to the 30.
Boise State, their best performance of the year top to bottom.
Yeah, that was our best fourth quarter we've had all year. I mean, if you look at the third quarter with like 2 minutes left to go, it's a tight game. So it was good to see the defense come on strong and step up, because I definitely thought when we got to the fourth quarter that Mateer was going to give us some problems.
Yeah, that's what we kind of thought maybe, but that wasn't necessarily the case. It was a late TD drive that was really meaningless. The Cougs finally get on the scoreboard in the fourth quarter at the end. But coming up today, we are going to talk about the defense. They are getting after the quarterback this year, maybe better than any team in the entire country. Matt Lauter continues to emerge as a serious weapon on offense. We're going to preview the Utah State game. But first things first, we have to begin with number 2, Ashton Jeanty. He was unbelievable once again. 26 carries, 259 yards, finds the end zone 4 times. I mean, this guy continues to just amaze us.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't know if there's anything more that can be said. It's like every week, same stuff, you know. Every week you're like, okay, maybe, he'll slow down a little bit.
But he doesn't.
Same thing. Getting the same thing every week.
So he leads all of college football in rushing yards. The number 2 guy on that list actually has exactly as many carries as Ashton does. So Ashton has 82 on the season, and Caleb Johnson from Iowa, a really talented running back, he has 82 carries on the season. Ashton has 845 yards. He has 685 yards. Ashton's only leading the country by 50 yards per game when it comes to rushing yards per game. He's at 211. He's averaging 10.3 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns, tops in the country. And it's interesting because whenever, Portland State wasn't, necessarily a highly viewed game, but Oregon and Washington State certainly were, and he has the nation buzzing. He never disappoints, Shane. He literally never disappoints. Is there anybody you have ever played with where every time he touches the rock, you kind of hold your breath because you're like, you might witness something that you're never going to forget? Yeah,
I mean, you kind of got those vibes with, Jay, but it's just different, man. Just watching him, it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
For me, Jay was different because it was like you would always look back at Jay's body of work. It wasn't necessarily always one run. Like, yeah, he would break some tackles and do some spectacular things. But with Ashton, it's like just the moment itself lives. With Jay at the end of the game, you'd be like, man, he had 42 touches. And Ashton, because he's been so efficient in terms of breaking off long runs, you never really have that. And this actually hit me this week, Shane. I, to date myself, had the luxury of watching Reggie Bush play in college. He traveled up to the Palouse, and they absolutely throttled Washington State that day, right? It was really funny. It was a beautiful day. Storm rolls in right over kickoff. Turns out the storm was Reggie Bush. He has to punt return that game. He scored another touchdown on the ground that game. And I just remember sitting in the stands being totally captivated because you're like, I'm not taking my eyes off the field if Reggie Bush is on it because he could do something so cool. And I feel like that is where we're at with Ashton Jeanty.
For sure. I think if you even just look, on social media, you have people in the media and people like fans who have never watched Boise State games because they don't care, They live in, let's say, Florida, but now they're watching the games because everybody's talking about the best running back in the country. So we have people watching the games who have never watched the games. I'm really interested to know the viewership and where we are, but I feel like we're getting up there.
Yeah, so Ashton, he has a 94.8 run grade against Washington State. That is best in the country this season. And PFF, Pro Football Focus, it is on a scale of 1 to 100, but 100 is like literally impossible to achieve. So a 94.8, there might not be another running back in the country this year that even touches that score. Like, that's amazing. He had 234 yards after contact in that game, Shane. There were only 9 running backs in the Mountain West. We're 4 or 5 games in now, right? There were only 9 running backs in the Mountain West. I guess I have to not include him. So 8 other running backs in the Mountain West that have eclipsed that yardage total like this year. And he did it after contact against Washington State. I'm going to keep going here. 17 missed tackles. And the funny thing is, if you go back, I'm like, man, PFF, they're not just giving him any gimmies. I mean, they're apparently making him earn it, because it felt like he even had more than that. Yeah. Heck, his first touchdown run, it felt like he had like 6 or 7 alone.
I thought it was 6 or 7 myself.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but to give you some perspective on 17 missed tackles in a game, by far, it's the most in about the last calendar year. But the perspective you need is Ollie Gordon, the Oklahoma State running back, NFL dude. Really, really good. He's forced 23 missed tackles on the season. And again, Ashton Jeanty had 17 in 4 quarters against Washington State. And then finally, I'll give you one more. 4 rushing touchdowns. It's tied for second most in the country because he's got the most, 6 against Georgia Southern. So, I mean, any way you spin it, this guy, there's cliches you can throw out there and stuff like that, like, oh, he's 1 of 1, he's 10 of 10. That's what Spencer Danielson likes to say. But, like, nobody is doing what he is doing or even close to what he's doing right now. Yeah. And you could say that on, you could extend that outside the window of just this season. I mean, what you are witnessing is greatness.
I agree. I mean, that's obviously priority number 1 moving forward. We have to protect him.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of hard when you have that kind of back, but I mean, he's got to. We need the backups to play a big role here down this stretch, because the more carries we can take off of him, the fresher he'll be. Obviously longevity. So if we're planning on making this run, which it looks like we're in a good shape right now.
Yes.
For a run.
This is going to be a long season ahead, and with the college football playoff, you have conference championship games, the bowl game, and if you make the college football playoff, that means you could potentially play 2 games, right? And so now you are almost at the length of an NFL season. Yep. I mean, you can play 15 games a year now, which is crazy because it wasn't that long ago you maxed out at 13. And man, Shane, I'm glad you brought that up, because I agree with you. And there were some fans that seemed a little agitated that he only got 11 carries and only played 1/2 against Portland State. Okay, if that ever happens again, and you know what? It might happen again this week, everybody.
It should happen this week.
It should, right?
He should have no more than 15 carries this week.
It might happen again. Don't get mad about it, because look how fresh and ready he was. He was ready to go for Washington State, and they are doing a beautiful job. I continue to use the word calibrating, because they adjust it based off of his needs and the team's needs. And you go back against the season opener against Georgia Southern, he plays in about, I think it was 63% of the offensive snaps. Against Oregon, 87% of the offensive snaps. Against Portland State, 36% of the offensive snaps. Against Washington State, 90% of the offensive snaps. So they're doing a good job of figuring out when they need Ashton Jeanty. And of course, whenever that moment arrives, Ashton Jeanty's ready to go.
Sounds like he's in that NBA load management. That's what
kind
he's
of,
getting.
but that's, hey, if Ashton Jeanty's going to come back and come to Boise State, and one of your promises is we're going to take care of you, this is evident, in my opinion.
No, for sure. I 100% agree with you. And based off that trend, it looks like this week he should be, floating closer to that 40-50 range.
Yeah, they're not just gonna run him out there to run him out there. And I think that I already know, like, working in the media, now all of a sudden he's on pace. I'm gonna get into his projections here in a second, but he's on pace to break one of the more hallowed records in all of college football. And so the conversation is gonna start to turn into, oh, do you focus on that? Do you try to help him get there? People probably aren't gonna want to hear the answer to this, but that's not the focus. No. I mean, I don't think that becomes the focus, Shane, until the very end of this thing. And if it's within reach, you look at him and you say, do you want to go get it?
Yeah.
But like we're 4 weeks in. I don't think you even come close to worrying about that right now. You more worry about maintaining him and keeping him fresh for the long haul at this point in time in the season, so he can do what he did against Washington State. Again, whenever you need him to.
For sure. I think if they can effectively do what they've already been doing, limiting touches based off of how the games are going, then if you just look at how they've done it, he's on pace. If they're able to continue doing that, and he's got to stay on pace, because if he gets 15 carries, it's 200 yards.
Yeah.
So if you're able to keep him, where you're doing right now, I think you'll be there and you won't even have to worry about it. It'll all sort itself out.
It's funny you say that, because when you say if he gets 20 carries, it's 200 yards. He's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, this is what he does, and so. I think, for me, I was just trying to wrap my head around how good Ashton Jeanty's been. And I think of Reggie Bush in my lifetime as he played on such great teams that it's not like he needed, or, it's not like he was going to get 350 touches in a season. But for me, the most electric, best football player that I've witnessed with my own eyes was Reggie Bush. And I legitimately think that Ashton Jeanty's entering that conversation.
Yeah, it's hard with Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush had a quarterback that won the Heisman.
Yep.
So he had
Lendale
receivers.
White, the best. I mean, he had the best of the best around him.
Had one of the best receiving cores. He had a backup running back who was All-American. It was just like he had so many things around him. Then you kind of look at where we're at, People are up and down, in certain positions, and we still have been trying to figure out who's our number one guy on the receiving core. I feel like we came up with Camper, but then after the last 2 weeks, it's like, was our tight end our number one weapon? Like, what is it? We still have so many unknowns. And through all of that, at the end of the day, we know 20 carries is 200 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yep, with Ashton Jeanty. When called upon, if you need it, and I expect another monster performance. The over-unders on this guy, Shane, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. The over-under on his rushing yards this week, I don't know what, somebody tweeted this, I don't remember if it was FanDuel or something else or whatever, but 195 and a half rushing yards is the over-under.
For this week?
For this week.
Honestly, if you're out there, I'd take the under, because I don't think he's going to touch the ball enough times to get it.
You joke, and that was kind of my first thought. Like, I don't know if he's going to get enough carries in this game.
There's no way.
Now, considering you look at Utah State's rushing defense, and they're awful. They are giving up 196.8 yards per game, 5 yards per carry, over 5 yards per carry. So it's been a really, really long time since you felt like Boise State was back in like demolition mode, where you're going to step on the field with them and they were just going to murder you. Yes, you had good teams in 2014, and there's been good teams. But I go back to that 2011 team where you knew, regardless of who they put against them, it was going to be a long freaking day, and they weren't going to have answers. Yeah. And we are so close to that with this little Ashton Jeanty era we got going on right now.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I'm right there with you. Like, I don't know if he's going to get enough carries. He'd get 12 carries for $178 and like 3 touchdowns. I don't know.
They're pulling him.
Right?
No reason to stay in the game at that point.
Yeah.
Unless we're giving it up on the other end.
Yeah.
So now we're going to
I don't expect that, though. And I want to talk about defense here, but let's just stay on the offensive side of the ball. So we hit on Ashton Jeanty now. You mentioned Matt Lauter, and Spencer Danielson said this after the last game. Like, they still feel like there is meat on the bone when it comes to their passing game. So how do they get that meat off the bone? Matt Lauter's been very, very good the last 2 weeks. One of the best tight ends in all of college football. If you look at his numbers over the last 2 weeks, he's basically second or third, but really more towards second. 70 yards after the catch out of a tight end. That's a really hard stat to look up, but I'm pretty confident and comfortable in saying that it's never happened for a tight end at Boise State. I mean, that is, at least in the modern era, that's a lot of yards. So, like, what have you seen out of Matt Lauter? And as a wide receiver, can your tight end really be like your go-to guy? Are you cool with that?
It's okay. Wait, let's answer those separately.
Okay.
So what I've seen so far out of Lauter is I think he's just been taking, him and Cutter together have been taking huge advantage of just the boxes we've been seeing. I actually screenshotted something I saw. At one point I saw 8 people in the box.
Yep.
And Jeanty scored on that same play. It was 8 people in the box. So when you got 8 in the box, you got receivers out there. Those backers are not worried about the tight end. I mean, at the end of the day, they're probably saying our goal this game is to not let this guy rush for over 3 yards a carry. That's typically what you want to do. You want to be under 3. So with everyone focusing there, that just opens up so much stuff for him. And I think they've done a good job of using that to get him open. Now, the second question was, how do I feel as a tight end, as a receiver, having a tight end that leads the team? I mean,
probably not great.
I mean, for those guys, they probably don't see it as good. But as a fan now, I mean, we watched the last, 3 or 4 Super Bowls. The team that won had a tight end that leads their team.
Yeah.
Interceptions.
We always love Dirk Cutter comparisons, and like he gave us the Maurice Jones-Drew comparison for Ashton Jeanty last year, and it's a pretty darn good comp. Although at this point, man, I just don't even know if there is a comp for Maurice Jones-Drew. I actually talked with another guy, or another comp for Ashton Jeanty. Talked with another guy today, a well-known guy here in the City of Trees. I'm gonna let you hang on that for a moment about Ashton Jeanty. But for Matt Lauter, I wanted that comp, and I don't know who it is. And I think Matt's he's in an interesting mold, because to call him, to label him more of a receiving tight end would not be the full compliment that he deserves, because he's a really good blocking tight end. And man, I think the world of Matt Lauter. I started the Matt Lauter hype train, I feel like a couple months ago now, and now you're kind of seeing it hit overdrive.
Yeah.
And I think he's far from finished. I mean, this is just the beginning of what's going to be a monster season for Matt Lauter. And I mean, you talk about guys on the team that might be NFL dudes. Matt Lauter is now trying to make his way into that conversation, and probably has, for that matter. Where do you want to see the passing game grow? It gets off to a little bit of a slow start last week. At the end of the day, you look at Maddox Madsen's numbers, and he's 12 of 21 for 184 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's thrown 2 interceptions all year. I mean, where is the meat on the bone that you want to get to satisfy the appetite of what you want on offense?
We talked about it a few weeks ago that in these games where obviously the scales tipped, we want to see them work on things like Portland State. We want to see the pass game open up. Well, it became the Matt Lauter show, right? And they just kind of built off of that, right? So this week we got more of it. So I feel like this week it's Utah State. The scales are pretty tipped. I haven't really checked that spread, but I think it might be over 30.
Yeah, it's. I think the last I saw, and this is when it opened up, and it was going up in a hurry. The last I saw was 27, but it opened at 24. And that actually, I mean, that's some pretty significant.
I wish I would have known you was at 24 hours.
Right. That's some pretty significant movement, especially when the line already opens at over 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's if you go back and you pay attention to ESPN's Football Power Index, they kind of give percentages on, the chance for a team to win. And at the beginning of the season, this game was like 70% for Boise State. It's now 97. Yeah. Which I can't even remember. That's about what it was for Portland State. Like,
jeez, yeah.
They're expecting Boise State to hammer these guys.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
This has to be the week where, if I'm Cutter, I continue to build off of Matt. So he still has to be involved heavily. And now we get the receivers involved. And it can be after you pull Jeanty after he gets his 160 yards on 5 carries,
right,
or whatever it is.
It's interesting because so oftentimes you kind of use the run game to set up the pass game. I got that backwards. I mean, right? So, but now I mean, that's what they do now at Boise State. Like the run game sets up your pass game with Maddox and the wide receivers, and so. It's Ashton's just such a talented kid that he's really helping this offense. And so the guy that I happened to see in the building today while I was at interviews was none other than Christopher Peterson.
Oh.
I don't even know if his full name is Christopher. It just felt very professional. Coach Pete, Chris Peterson.
See all that lurking around, huh?
Yeah. Do you know why?
No, I would like to know.
So Coach Pete works for Big Fox now. And he is in town to have a little sit down with Ashton Jeanty. Coach Pete coming out to do interviews with Boise State players. I never thought that I'd see the day.
That's kind of weird.
Right?
When you think about it, it's a little weird.
Yeah, if you know him, just because, Coach P is always so generous and great, but, I don't think, interviews were his favorite part of the job, right?
Yeah, it's weird, for sure.
But, so he's in town, yeah. He's going to interview with Ashton. I don't know when it airs or anything like that, but he's coming to talk to Boise State's best player, and it's the reason why he's here, and I don't know, I guess, like I said, I caught up with him, so hear from Coach P, get his thoughts on Ashton Jeanty.
He is amazing. That's why I'm over here right now. Everybody's wanting to what is going on here on this blue turf? And I'm no different.
Jeanty makes a couple of tacklers miss, squirts out of the pile to the 45, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, 10, touchdown, Ashton Jeanty. Another huge run, 64 yards for Ashton Jeanty on the score.
When I look back at all of our time here and all the great players that we've had, the one position where it's probably been stacked as much as any has been that running back position. We've always had a really good running back. And this may be as good as anything that we have seen, and again, I'm in a little bit of an awkward position because being an old coach, we're game 4. We got a lot of season left. A lot of things can happen, twists and turns. You don't want to put the cart before the horse, but what he's done through these 4 games is something not a lot of us have seen in recent memory. And I'm talking about in college football.
It's always cool catching up with Coach Pete. He gave us, more time than we probably deserved today to talk about Ashton Jeanty and Boise State's program, and also hyped up Jeremiah Dick. He said he's the best in the country at what he does, and he loves to see, the game day atmosphere, the continued facility improvements, and all of those things. But just having Coach Pete, the GOAT, come back to talk to,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting close to Ashton being the GOAT.
Ooh. Don't spark nothing out there, Jay.
Okay, yeah, I'll pump the brakes on that, but we're a few weeks away from me actually asking you that question.
I'm gonna try to avoid that question.
4 weeks in. You know what, Coach P, it's really funny because talking with him today, somebody asked him, could you see Ashton in New York? And I just started to laugh because I've done too many interviews with Coach Pete, and I was like, I know exactly what answer you're going to give right now. And during as Coach Pete, started answering the question, he's like, Jay's laughing right now because he knows what I'm going to say. I'm like, you're exactly right, Coach Pete. You're exactly right. I know exactly what you're going to say here. So it's still early in the season, but it's fun to play into the hype of this thing. So we'll see how the offense can continue to grow. I think the impressive thing about this, Shane, is nationally they're top 10 in yards from scrimmage, points per game, all those little stats we mentioned last week: third down efficiency, red zone efficiency, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. But they're averaging 47.8 points per game, 6th best in the country. That was once the norm at Boise State, but there was about a 10-year window where it continued to kind of slide off the cliff almost, and now it's back up there at over 40 points per game. And it's wild to me to think you've gone to Oregon, you've gone to Georgia Southern, which your longest road trip of the season. You've played Washington State. You're averaging almost 48 points per game, 6th best in the country, and you can kind of still sit here and go, oh man, there's still a little room that we can actually improve this thing.
I think it's honestly a lot of room. I just think we're at 65% capacity of what we like to do. Obviously, you just take 50, say that's the run game. We understand where we are there. I give the other 15% to, the pass game with the tight end. I just think we're still on ground zero with the receivers. We just got to figure it out. It's tough.
Yeah.
But when you're so successful at doing one thing, it typically takes away from the other. So I also get that side of it too.
And they're kind of navigating this. Latrell Caples didn't play last game. He's out with an injury. We'll see how long he's out. I mean, we cross our fingers and hope that it's not for forever or for a long time. But outside of that, I mean, you have Cam Camper, Matt Lauter. Matt Lauter now leads the team in catches, by the way, with 14. You get down to Chase Penry, who's got 6 for 46 yards. In terms of wide receivers after that, you run into Cameron Bates, the true freshman, who's got 4 catches for 27 yards. So in terms of the available wide receivers, you certainly would hope that some of those guys can continue to step up. And I thought Chase Penry, playing his first significant college snaps in a little while, did an all right job last week, and hopefully he continues to grow. But we'll see where that offense can take this thing. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, we told you about John Mateer, and on John's first carry of the game, takes off for 52 yards, and I remember I was sitting in the press box, and I was like, oh no, maybe he is the truth. This could be a long night. So I remind you, first carry, 52 yards. He finished the game with 28 yards rushing.
Because college is different from NFL.
Yep.
It goes rushing, not passing, right?
Right, so if you get sacked, that takes away from your total. John happened to be sacked 8 times, which is tied for most by any team in the country this year.
And I'm sure he took off and got a few more yards, too.
Here and there, but for whatever reason, college does do that kind of that net total. So when you add it all up and you subtract it all down, he finished with 20 carries for 28 yards, despite his long rush being 52 yards. They did a really good job with him, man, and I walked away super impressed because I'm confident saying they're not going to face another quarterback as talented as John Mateer the rest of Mountain West play. So through the regular season, Mountain West title game, after that it's unknown, but through that point in the year, they're not going to face another QB as talented as John.
No, I think probably the next one, based off what I've seen so far, is UNLV. The new guy came in, and
how about that?
I watched that game, and
yeah.
So it's. Yeah, I was expecting it to be the opposite. New quarterback coming in. Fresno is Fresno, but Fresno offensively struggled.
And they got Mikey Keene back. They got some pieces back. They got their running back as well, Malik Sherrod. But they, that was a tough one. And I kind of actually thought, I think I said it on the show last week, I thought Fresno State was going to get them. I thought there was too much chaos going around the UNLV program. But as it turns out, it almost seemed like more of a little bit of a rallying cry, I feel like, where those guys in the locker room, what is it, all we got, all we need type of situations, and they went out and rolled Fresno State behind that QB.
It was not close.
No.
Yeah, I stopped watching when it was about 28-0, I think. It got ugly, real ugly.
That game, not to look too far ahead, that Friday night, Las Vegas, Boise State, UNLV, both teams ranked. The winner, you are definitely looking at the inside track to a college football playoff berth. That game could be one of the bigger Mountain West Conference games that we have seen in a long, long time. And then you have all the realignment stuff, which, with Gonzaga being added to the Pac-12 this week, man, I have a real feeling that UNLV is going to wake up on July 1st, 2026 and go, what the heck did we do? We took the bait, we took the payday, and we should have been a little patient in the process. That's my opinion. And they talked about being a P4 school, wanting to take that next step. What gets you closer to the next step? Playing Boise State and Oregon State and Washington State.
Colorado State.
Or Wyoming, New Mexico's football team, San Jose State, Nevada. That's right. What gets you closer to the next step is the future of the Pac-12. And I posted something on my Instagram earlier today too, Shane, just talking about the strength of the Pac-12, man. It'll be one of the best basketball leagues in America. If you use last year's net rankings, kind of average them out, it would have been the 4th best basketball league in America. But I also know that we're not here to break down basketball. We're here to talk about football. So getting back to Boise State's defense now. It's crazy, Shane, because it's a wave, man. You don't know where it's coming from. Ahmed Hassani is going to be involved in there somewhere, but they have a number of guys in the top 10 in sacks per game in the Mountain West Conference. Rodney Robinson's got a couple sacks. He made one of the biggest plays of the game the other night when Washington State starts the second half on an 8-minute, 4-second drive and doesn't score because of a sack that Rodney Robinson had.
Yeah, it was pretty exotic. I saw Cobra blitzes hitting home from the boundary. They're sitting in the corners. They're blitzing. It's just they made sure that they kept it different and they were bringing pressure often. They did not sit back. You saw the spies. They were delaying spies and then sending them. They were spying them and just having them stay. They had so much different stuff they threw at them. It was just tough for them to kind of pivot.
Looking at this, Andrew Simpson, Rodney Robinson tied for 7th in the Mountain West in sacks per game. Jaden Virgin-Morgan and Braxton Feely tied for 5th in the Mountain West in sacks per game. And at number 2 up there, Ahmed Hassanin averaging a full sack per game. He has 4 sacks on the game. He was shut out in the first game. He's had 4 in the last 3 games combined. And anything that Eric Chinander did was he dialed it up. Boise State's defensive coordinator that week.
And there was a few that I thought were going to be sacks, but he got tackled back at the line, so they kind of snuck through there. But that was the best I've seen us play. What do we have? 8 sacks?
8 sacks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that in a while.
Yeah, especially that type of competition. And that's a Washington State line that actually did a pretty good job protecting John Mateer. You know, leading up to that point in the game. I think an encouraging thing to me about what you're seeing out of this defense is growth from game to game and a certain cohesiveness in game that allows them to get better. It's really funny because so at the high school level, Shane, you're a high school coach. I'm sure that you know this. Do you guys have iPads and video on the sideline that you can coach people up on?
Yep.
Now it's kind of funny because Columbia High School has that technology, but for a long, long time, college didn't have that technology. They weren't allowed to. And so that's something that's kind of new to the NCAA where they are allowing those devices on the sideline. And there was a 4th and 1 play. Marco Notriani comes up, turns John Mateer away deep inside Washington State territory. So it gave Boise State turnover on downs, great field position. But apparently they saw, Washington State line up for a QB sneak earlier in the game, and the story goes it didn't go very well. And so coming out of a timeout later on, they anticipated Washington State rolling it again. And it was the work of going back, looking at the iPad, really dissecting things, coaches talking with Eric Chinander talking with the coaches, them going to the players, and then all of a sudden it goes onto the field and it plays out to perfection. So it shows me these guys are really dialed and connected together.
It's different when you're able to make adjustments on the sideline. Obviously, years ago when I played, it was, okay, we go to halftime, we see, this is what we're seeing, and so we adjust then. But now you go through a first drive, you can change the outcome of, the rest of the half because you can adjust on the fly. And so that's really comes down to coaching because being able to adjust on the fly, and now you could have been practicing a scheme the whole week. Yeah. But now we're getting this. This is different. So we've been out for a drive. They came out on something we've never seen. You can now get that addressed now.
And that was the case because, again, I loved how open and honest Eric Chinander was. And it's a common thread amongst the staff because Spencer Danielson, quick to take blame and deflect praise, right? And this week there was a lot of praise for Eric Chinander, which was deserved. And then at his press conference, he spent a lot of his time deflecting credit to his assistant coaches that made some of those plays. And he said that, that's on me. We weren't necessarily prepared for the QB sneak in this game. It wasn't a part of our game plan because Washington State hadn't shown it this year. But they were able to get that figured out in game and get a crucial 4th down stop that really gave a ton of momentum to Boise State at that point in time. So I think that this defense, if they continue to stay on this trajectory, they have a chance to be really, really good moving forward.
For sure. We talked about it, I think, after the first game. We were like, well, the defense isn't hitting, but the positive is that we can't really do any worse than giving up 45 to Georgia State.
Yeah.
And what we've been seeing every game is the defense is getting better. I mean, you go back to the Oregon game, we played great on defense.
Played hard.
We just played terrible on special teams.
Yep.
Right? We get that figured out. You go to the Portland State game. All right. It's just every week they're just getting better and better and better. And so it's good. And I'm glad we've played, 2 tough opponents already. Because, we've had to play in games where it's close and we have to make a play and those kind of things. You don't want to get to the end of the year and you're playing UNLV. It's the first time you've ever been down in a game, so it's good to kind of get hit in the mouth a little bit in the beginning of the season.
When you were here and you were playing, and you can name a name or not, did you ever witness somebody lose their starting job?
Yeah. I've seen that before.
What's usually the reaction when that happens?
That's the mental side of the game that it's kind of different for everyone, Some people, they lose it and there's still a guy that'll help you out. They'll still, do what they have to do. They'll find a different way to get on the field, and then, you have some guys who mentally they just check out. Like once the spot's gone, they're gone. You know, so
Yeah.
it's really tough. And Coach Pete always just say everybody has a role. You know, and if you don't like your role, it's your job to change it. Like that's what I always think about. You know.
Yeah. So I bring this up because I wanted to give credit to a guy that kind of lost his starting role, but I don't even know if it's fair to say that he lost his starting role because he's making such a big impact on this defense. But Rodney Robinson, he was a starting free safety for this team last year and the year prior. And, you know, after last season wrapped up, Spencer Danielson had a chat with him, and that's when Ty Benefield was going to become the starting free safety. And warned you all about Ty. I know that, a little slow start to the season, but Ty played phenomenal in that last game, had his first career interception, career high, actually just short of a career high 8 tackles. He's had more than that in a season this year. But really good football player. Anyways, they've moved Rodney around, and he continues to find a way to make an impact. I already mentioned he had a game-changing sack in that game, and I just think his response to that adversity has been awesome. And for me, you know, I've covered this program for so long. We all identify great players, but I think that some of your instincts kicked in and you're able to identify great Broncos. Yep. And what I mean by that is, like, it's not the stats sheet stuffers all the time, but it's the guys that do whatever it's going to take for the team to win. Marco Notriani, he's a great Bronco. Rodney Robinson, he's a great Bronco. And I appreciate those guys. And they deserve praise. Like, They might not lead the team in tackles or touchdowns or any of that stuff, but these are the guys that are the identity of the program.
I'm telling you, I live by those wise words, man. Pete gave a lot of gems. He didn't like his role, he changed it. That's just literally what he says.
Yeah.
Everybody has a role. He figured it out.
Well, I asked Spencer Danielson about Rodney and his impact and still finding a way to make an impact earlier this week. This is what he had to say.
I am black and white with our players. This is where you're at. This is why. This is where we need to grow to. And me and Rodney have a conversation in January. And hey, Rod, this is looking at last season. This is where you're at. This is what I need you to continue to improve on. These are my thoughts. This is the film. And because Rodney is a great teammate. He loves his teammate. He's a great young man in this building. No issues there. It's just, hey, these are the things I need to be more consistent in, from either coverage to tackling to communication. And there was not one day from January to now where Rodney came to this building and he was ever feeling sorry for himself. Oh, I'm getting screwed. Not one day was he like that. He went through spring ball, competed, played nickel, played field safety, had to rotate through some different coverage adjustments, played it. Summertime, worked his tail off. Fall camp, him and Shea going back and forth at nickel, played field safety for a couple years for us. Now he's playing a lot of nickel, competing at it, making plays. It's what does the team need? I know I need to continue to improve. And he's done that. And you see him growing. And he played one of his better games he's played here on Saturday. Now for Rodney, it's where do we go from that to where we take even another step when we play against Utah State? But I'm proud of Rodney.
So there's another thing that Spencer Danielson was just so glad to talk about this week, and it was the game day atmosphere at Albertson Stadium. And I think that my guy Tom Scott said it perfectly, and there's nobody that has the perspective of Tom Scott. He's watched about 300 games at Albertson Stadium in his career. He said the game day atmosphere against Washington State was the best he's ever witnessed. They got the light show. They got the new sound system. Obviously, the blue turf. The video board, which came in last year. I mean, it is all connecting right now. And Tom, I agree with you, my guy. Like, I thought that was an incredible atmosphere. And I walked away feeling that, Shane, but I was like, maybe I'm just a little biased because, I'm watching my alma mater play Boise State and it just feels cool. But if Tom says it, then it's got to be true.
Yeah, no, I will say this. From my tailgate spot outside the stadium, it's a lot louder than it's been in the past. Been out there for about 6 years now, and it's loud.
Yeah.
It's really loud.
So the way that it all broke down on Saturday is I actually got to get down to the stadium a little bit early and just kind of walk around the tailgate area. Is that usually the way that it looks? Was it more hopping? Was it busier?
So I'll say this. Past years, it's been, we get there.
I lost my invite to your tailgate.
It's always there. It's always there. People usually get there. I know for us, we always get there 4 hours before game.
Okay.
Set up. every home game so far, I get there and Just is usually there before me, and he says, I don't know why, but it's already packed. It's 4 hours before the game. People are saying they're getting there at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Game's not until 7:45 p.m. But people are out there early, and they are going.
The goal was to make it feel like you were missing something if you weren't at Albertson Stadium. And it's funny because you wake up on Sunday and you're like, man, when's it Saturday? Can we do this again?
Yeah,
you know, and I don't know if I've ever felt that before leaving a Boise State football game. I'm just saying, like, you always look forward to Saturday. That's fine. But, like, I don't feel like you had the feeling of, like, let's get back there. Like, I want to do this again, you know?
No, yeah, it's different for sure. I've never seen this type of environment. Just from outside looking in, it's so many people out there. It's packed.
So Washington State was sold out. The home opener against Portland State, an FCS school, was sold out. This game coming up against Utah State is sold out. And oh, by the way, the largest crowd in Albertson Stadium in history witnessed that 42-24 beatdown over Washington State. 37,700 fans packed the stands at Albertson Stadium. And there's definitely some magic brewing, it seems like, within Bronco Nation. And if you look at those final 3 games, tickets are still out for each of the final 3 games of the season. I believe it's Nevada, Oregon State, and oh gosh, one more. Anyways, they're all at over 85% capacity.
Jeez. Yeah, gotta love that.
Jeremiah Dickey and his staff are doing some really good things over there. So as we look ahead and kind of start to preview, San Diego State, by the way, is at Boise State on November 1st. As we look ahead here, okay, you might want to get to this game because Boise State goes to Hawaii the following week. Then they got a bye. Then they go to UNLV. So the October 5th date is your last chance to see the Broncos on the blue until November 1st.
Yep. That's Friday.
How much would you pay to go to a Friday game? How much would you pay to go to a Boise State game?
Personally?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Give me a number. I'll tell you if I would.
I know. Yeah. You're probably kind of jaded like me a little bit. Like, you know, when you have when you go on work trips and stuff and you rent a car, like that's just part of like the work budget. And then when you go do it by yourself, you're like, what? Why am I don't want to spend this much on renting a car. When you get to go to games for free forever,
it's tough.
And you're asked to buy a ticket, you're like, wait a minute here.
The last game and the only game outside of my visit that I went and sat in the stands and bought tickets is Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I sat in the end zone.
This crowd is rowdier than Oklahoma State, in my opinion.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is the only one.
But there are fans out there, and some of them message me. They're paying $250, $300 per seat on the secondary market. Like that to me shows a sign.
Where's the seat at though?
Some of them are good, some of them aren't good, but like they're not like somebody said like I wanted decent seats, and it was I think it worked out to about $240 for 3 tickets. Excuse me, $240 per ticket for 3 tickets that were in like what he called respectable or viewing area or seats or whatever. Didn't want to be quiet way up in the nosebleeds.
It depended on the game, like if we're hosting a Mountain West Championship game, I paid $240 for a ticket.
Yeah. I think that shows the sign of success of what they're doing over there is they've actually now created a secondary market where fans are willing to pay way more than the cover or face value of a ticket. And wait till season tickets next year. I think that you're going to see another spike in those because that's your best deal of actually getting in to see a Boise State football game. Yeah. So Utah State coming to town. The Aggies have not been great this year. They're 1-3. I mentioned their rush defense hasn't been good. I mean, what do you kind of see or expect out of this game?
14 carries. 14 carries is what we'll get from Jeanty. Then he's pulled. I can't tell you what the yards would be because it could be 300, it could be 170.
Yeah.
14 carries, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and then I think at that point, whoever plays backup this week, backup running back, will have more yards than Jeanty, I think, personally. I don't know who that will be. Yeah. We kind of have
it'd be really nice
a lot of those guys.
It'd be really nice to get Breezy Dubar kind of in a rhythm. Sire Gaines missed last game. We're kind of waiting on his future. I think you invest more in the guys that you saw that were available last game. So it feels like Breezy Dubar. Obviously Dylan Riley, the true freshman that had a big game against Portland State. Tyler Crow. Those guys are going to have to complement Ashton, it feels. And it would be awesome to see if they get Breezy Dubar kind of going and get him in some rhythm. He's hit behind the line of scrimmage on most of his carries last week.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
The crazy
to get him
part
going.
is that's normal.
Yeah.
You know, we're just used to that still being a broken tackle.
With Ash?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
He gets hit twice behind the line of scrimmage and bounces off him and races for 64.
Yeah, Breezy's probably in there like, oh, so when I come in, you guys don't block. No, those are just broken tackles.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So what do you think in terms of, did Boise State put this game away early then?
Yes, it will be. The great thing about being a team that can run the ball is you don't have as many factors as you do in the pass game, right? So in the pass game, I need the line to protect so someone can't come through for a sack. I need the coverage to be where it is so I can complete the pass. I need the receiver to catch it. I need the quarterback to throw a catchable ball. It's just such a simpler game.
Yeah.
It's harder to turn the ball over when you're able to run it. So being able to hike the ball and you have 5 linemen and maybe a tight end, that's 6 factors in that play for it just to be successful enough for Jeanty to get through the first wave. And you turn around and you put the ball in his stomach. At that point, it's a positive play. I just think it's hard to have a slow start with that.
Yeah. I'm interested to see Utah State's approach. They have been more of a hurry-up offense, quick tempo offense. Can they? If you notice at the start of the game against Washington State, the Cougs were pushing tempo on offense, and then when Boise State was getting the ball, they were huddling, and they were trying to kind of slow that thing down a little bit early on, keep John Mateer on the sideline, and I feel like, that probably needs to be your game plan against Ashton Jeanty. How can we keep Ashton Jeanty on the sideline for as long as humanly possible? I don't know if Utah State has that in them, but we'll see. Man,
You can't do hurry up.
I think so highly of this. If they're averaging, 48 points a game, and that includes a game against Oregon, they're gonna hang 50 on them this week. They're gonna hang 50 on
We
Utah
missed
State
it last week. We said it was going to be 52. What was our guesses last
No,
week?
I think we were low 40s. We were pretty close. We thought Washington State would score a couple more points.
Yeah.
We said over for the points. We said
I
Washington.
think I said 38 to 45.
Yeah, something like that.
38-45.
Yeah, and again, it was pretty darn close to that.
Yeah. Washington State didn't get it done.
No, they didn't get it done. That's all right.
The over was hit, though.
The over was hit. Yeah.
All right, this week I'm going to go with 54 to 14.
I like 52-14, but we'll go with yours because yours is a little higher.
Okay.
All right, Boise State back on the blue this Saturday, kind of an earlier kickoff, 5 o'clock. The game will air on FS2. No idea what they're thinking by not putting Ashton Jeanty on TV. Is what it is, but the game kicks off at 5 o'clock. Our pregame show live on the Blue an hour before kickoff, leading up to game time, and excited to hang out with Bronco Nation once again this Saturday. So we will see you then at Albertson Stadium. For Shane Williams-Rhodes, I'm Jay Tust. This is Jay Sports Bar, serving the Idaho sports community.